what it really means to live life golden.
Sweetheart, are we offending you?
Yeah, we're golden, baby girl, we're golden. They're about to see us shine, cause we're golden. They can't ever break us down, cause we're golden. They're about to see us glow, cause we're golden. Yeah, we're golden, baby girl, we're golden.
Welcome back to the Leisure House Podcast. I'm with my boy, Ty Crit.
How we doing?
What's up, big dog?
My man.
How you doing?
Long time no see.
Long time no see, man. Well, we got Ty over here from Western Kentucky. He's from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So, Ty, my dog, he's one of the strongest guys on our team. He's been through a lot of different experiences in college, 4 different schools.
Yep.
Six year of college, man.
Yep.
So,
6 year.
let's talk about your hometown. So, where you're from, and kind of like walk us through your high school experience. And, we'll go from that.
Yeah, so I'm from Lighthouse Point, Florida. Lighthouse Point, it's like an aquatic area. Like, as you could probably imagine, the big lighthouse is right there. You can see it from my house. A lot of people like to fish from there, so it's like a sweet little spot for that. But you get like your beachy type people, some beach bums, but you probably know a little bit about that.
Yeah.
A little bit. But my high school's in Fort Lauderdale. My mom went to my high school. All 5 of my brothers and sisters went to my high school, and I think I had 6 cousins go to my high school.
What?
And then 3 of my mom's brothers and sisters.
Wow.
So legacy
you guys,
at that high school.
You guys own the school pretty much.
My grandpa is actually, the field is named after him.
No way, dude.
So it's Dr. Bud Tite Field. Yeah.
Wow. That is actually the craziest thing I've ever heard of high school. Like, I know, like, people, like, their parents went to their high school, but that's just another level of...
My bloodline.
Yeah. Are your kids going?
We'll see. We'll see where I start a family.
Yeah.
We're not that far yet.
Oh, man. That would be crazy. That's awesome. So, when you were in high school, did you play all 4 years of varsity, or you had to work your way up? So talk us a little bit about your journey through high school and how you decided that you wanted to go to Division I or wherever you wanted to go to.
For sure. So a little bit before then, I would say like 7th or 8th grade, I got a cage at my house. And I feel like that's when the lights turned on, so to speak.
Yeah.
Like, I had the cage for probably like 3 years, but that kind of just galvanized the whole thing about wanting to be a good baseball player. From there, I kind of started taking baseball seriously. Like, I would say before then, not so much. My freshman year, I played football, wrestled, and then played baseball.
Mm-hmm.
It was probably January. I was wrestling. Like, wrestling had just started, and I thought it was a lot of fun. But the baseball coach had pulled me aside, and he was like, listen, wrestling's going to go till March. You're not going to show up to baseball till probably halfway through March. You're good, but you're probably going to be on the JV if that's what you decide to do. And, I had really looked at myself at a high standard. I might not have been that good, but I thought, I was like, no, I'm a varsity type player.
Yeah.
So, I took that to heart, and I went into the wrestling coach who, if you know him, he's the toughest 5'2" man you've ever met in your life. And I was like, listen, I'm done. And he's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, I'm done. I need to play baseball. I got a tryout coming up, and I'm going to be a good baseball player. And he's like, you'll never be anything in baseball.
No way.
Yeah, definitely. So, he just wanted me to wrestle. That's no, disrespect to him. But, I listened to that baseball coach. I took it seriously. Luckily, an older guy, a senior, broke his arm,
oh, man.
2 weeks before the season started. So I started that freshman year, and I started all 4 years.
Really?
Yeah,
in center field?
No, I played left field the first 2 years.
Oh, okay.
A little bit of second base in there, too.
Hey, okay. Yeah. How did you balance, playing wrestling, baseball, and then you had a third sport you played? Or just those two?
Football.
Football? Wow.
Yeah.
So how did you balance doing all that?
I think it was good. With the football, I think it's so much different than baseball where you can kind of just jump into it, and it's hard to be halfway in football. I think that's the decision I had to make after that first year. I did well. I think we might have had 7 games, and I scored maybe 5 touchdowns. So, I was decent. But you gotta love that. You gotta love that sport.
Yeah.
You're banging every day. You gotta. Same with wrestling though. You better love it, or else you ain't showing up with the right intensity.
Yeah.
So, I just made that decision that baseball is my sport, and I'd already fallen in love with it. So I think that was the right decision for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know there's a lot of high school kids that play baseball and football, and what would you say to younger Ty Crit, if you could do it all over again, would you just say, hey, man, just play baseball? Or would you just tell him, hey, try to balance it out. You can do all 4 years?
You know, that's tough. I don't think I would have been able to balance the wrestling, but the football and the baseball, my older brother Jack did do that. I don't think I would have told myself to do it. I think I liked my route.
Yeah.
I think that helped me really just latch on to, like, the failure in baseball, how beautiful it is, and, like,
Yeah.
really, really just, like, gravitate towards it. Like,
Yeah.
And ultimately, it made me want to play college baseball.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the failure part, I think, is the biggest thing that you got to overcome in baseball. Because I've coached with my dad. He's gone through, since my older brother, I've seen so many kids quit baseball.
They can't
and
handle it.
They can't handle the failure.
Yeah.
And then you go play lacrosse. No disrespect to lacrosse. My girlfriend plays lacrosse. So.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know much about the sport, but, like, all the kids where I'm from, when they quit baseball, they're going to lacrosse or they're going to a different sport, maybe like track or something. But
Right.
I think it's just a really tough sport, and you got to love it. And
do.
it's really hard to do 3 sports, but
Mhm.
even 2, I think, is like you got to, like, be dedicated to both.
Oh, yeah.
And I think once you start realizing that baseball is your thing, you just got over that hump of the failure part of it. Because then you start realizing how much you love it, because you're failing all the time and you're failing, but you're just like, I want to succeed.
Yeah.
So I think that's really cool that you did that. And
Yeah.
you decided, and it worked. It's working out pretty good. Now you're at the
Mhm.
University of Kentucky,
Yeah, SEC.
Yeah. So I think you are probably one of the oldest, maybe the oldest player in the SEC this year. So how does that feel, being a 6-year?
Let's hope he's lying. Let's just hope he's lying.
He's got me by 2 weeks. You got me by 2 weeks.
Alright.
We're December birthdays. I actually came in, and I thought I was the oldest guy.
Yeah, he had his shoulders peeled back like,
Yeah.
I'm the oldest in this room.
Yeah, I go
You
up
had to
to
check the roster.
Yeah, I went up to Richie, and I was like, am I the oldest guy on the team? And he's like, he's like going through. And he's like, oh, no, Ty Crittenberger. And I was like, who's that? Like, I don't
No
even know. I
way.
hadn't even met you yet. And I was like, dang, like, okay. That's awesome.
We got an old squad.
Yeah, we got an old squad. So tell me a little bit about, like, after your last year at Western, you graduated. How were you going into your 6th year feeling? Because, you know, I think a lot of us that graduated, you're kind of at that point where you're like, should I just get a job? Am I good enough to keep going? Should I keep going? Is a different route maybe the way I need to go? Walk me through, like, what your experiences were and, like, what you were thinking when you graduated.
Yeah, I feel like every year in college baseball, I've gotten, like, a little bit better. Never I've gotten that feeling where it's like, hey, man, like, maybe it's time. Like, I feel like each year I've gotten better. Oh, this
Yeah.
part of my game's better. This part of my game's better. So, like, not that feeling. I definitely have that feeling of, like, this is the last ride, like, make it special.
Yeah.
But I don't feel that back to the wall, like, where I feel like I'm on the clock. I feel like
Yeah.
everything's just coming together right now.
Yeah.
Like, really just appreciative of
Yeah.
what's happening in front of me. So,
Yeah.
just excited to make it happen this year.
I mean, we're also at, like, one of the most beautiful facilities
Yeah,
in the
right.
country. And it's just awesome to be here. And actually, when I came in, like, after I graduated, I didn't get that feeling of maybe I should hang him up, but, like, obviously I wanted to get drafted.
Yep.
I wanted to play minor league baseball. I thought I was ready.
Right.
But when I came here, I kind of, you know, I was, like, excited. It's SEC. But then in the back of my head, I was like, man, like, I really just wanted to play minor league baseball.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be the oldest college player. But now that I'm here, met the coaches, met the guys, I feel like I'm right where I need to be.
Energized.
I'm energized.
Yeah.
I'm, like, out here, and I'm honestly just playing like I have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
And I'm having a great time. Met a lot of good guys like yourself.
Appreciate you.
And I'm just genuinely happy to, like, be here. And I think it's, like, exactly where I need to be. Because, like, sometimes when you're, like, going through life and, like, school, you're just like, man, like, I need to be somewhere else. Like, this
Yeah.
is not where I belong. But, like, here, I just feel like I fit in. Like, it's exactly where I need to be.
In the right spot. But
Yeah.
I would commend you. You've done, like, a great job of that, being here already. Like,
Thank you.
it's easy to talk about it, but, like, even your field play so far, like, it shows. Like, you're just like, I'm just going to go out there and get my swing off, and it's been working, bro.
Literally,
It's
yeah.
been working.
I wish I knew that, like, 3 years ago.
Right.
Because, like, I feel like I was at JUCO, and we'll go talk about you being at JUCO, but I was draft eligible sophomore, and all I could think about was, like, all right,
I got to get drafted.
I got to get drafted. Like, this is my year. You
Yeah.
know? And you put all that pressure on you. And I had a really good year, and I thought I should have gotten drafted,
Right.
but it didn't happen, and I kind of just like felt lost. I was just like, what else do I need to do? Like,
Yeah.
I had a great year, and I was just like, man, like, am I really not that good?
Yeah.
Because like, I see the stats and I've seen myself play and other people, but you know, the people that are making the decisions don't think I'm good enough, or
Right.
maybe they just haven't seen me enough. So, I mean, what was your? I know you went to UCF, and you redshirted there.
Right.
How was that going to Central Florida?
That was fun. You know, it feels like that was a lifetime ago, but it was fun. I feel like I got my first college experience. I saw what like a college locker room's like, what college baseball is like, but you know, I had that first freshman fall of just feeling a little bit overmatched, you know,
Yeah.
like figuring out what do I need to do differently, what do I need to cue in on. That's when I started seeing a hitting coach like really taking pride in what I was doing. You know, I felt like I was more self-made before then, and
Yeah.
not that I'm not here today, but like that's when I seeked out help and like really started to dive into like what I need to do mechanically to be able to compete at a high level. But really it was just that shock of like this game's faster. Like
yeah.
it's
Oh, yeah.
faster. There are different things you need to be aware of from just playing that high school baseball, which is amazing, but it's a different game. And you know, I wouldn't change a thing about that freshman year. I was able to learn a lot, kind of identify what parts of my game needed to step up to that next level. But it's like what Coach Minch says, like, just learn.
Yeah.
Like, that was a year of learning, you know?
Yeah.
So it was helpful, but
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, like, when you're a freshman, like, you come into, Coop was telling me, when you come into college, you have this whole plan. You're like, all right, for him, it was like, I'm going to be the Sunday guy. Then I'm going to be the Saturday guy, and then I'm going to be the Friday guy by my junior year and get drafted.
Right.
I'm sure you came in, you're like, I'm going to start in center field every day, and I'm going to play 3 good years, and I'm going to get drafted, right?
Right.
So when you kind of got that reality check in a sense, did that change the way that you went about your business? Like, did it make you realize, okay, well, these guys are good too, so I need to like change my routine? So what kind of routine did you start to gain after that when you didn't get the starting job?
Right. I think the first thing that changed was like the mindset. Like in high school, I was a later guy to really come to the table in the sense of like I wasn't playing travel ball through middle school. I didn't really get so serious about stuff till probably my sophomore year summer. So it was just like another check where I was like, either you're going to strap up and like really become obsessed with it, or it's going to pass you by. And like, I think that'll make you or break you.
Yeah.
Like, you'll either come out on top and be like, man, I got through that and I'm a different beast, or it's just not for you. And like, you know, you've met guys where it's just not for them. Like, but it's for us. So it's like, it's a good feeling, that type of stuff. What type of things did I implement in my routine? Just like little stuff, like drill stuff. I stopped just, you know, like the high school routine of like get on the tee and, you know, like crank swings off the tee, and that was it. Like, I started to take pride in the little stuff, whether it was like I was doing beach workouts, get my speed. It was good, but was it great?
Yeah.
It was good, but did it translate to getting fly balls in the gap?
Yeah.
Can you steal bases? Like, I had some present tools, but it was like, what am I going to do with them?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that was that next step for me. What was I going to do with those tools? And then I just started to like figure out, oh, college pitchers throw a little bit different. Like, they're not just going to rely on a fastball. They're going to throw you breaking balls. Yeah, and
strikes.
what counts are they going to throw? You know, like little stuff like that, picking up on it. But it just goes back to like, either you're going to come out on top or the game's going to chew you up and spit you out.
Oh, yeah.
And it's your decision. Like, it is. So try to make that decision for myself.
I totally agree with that. I mean, you either figure it out and you kind of like realize that you're not the shit in high school anymore, right? And all these guys are just as good as you or even better. And the competition you're playing is even better.
Right.
So like being able to adjust is the biggest thing that I've started to realize over my 5 years of college. Adjusting and being able to take pride in the little things. And I see this guy works the hardest I've ever seen somebody work. He's doing the little drills before every practice we have. And so taking pride in those things, I think, is the next step a lot of players should need to realize, is that, you know, you take your swings with the team, but that's not going to be enough, right? Going down in the cage on your own, doing the water bag that I've seen you do, doing little one-handed drills that are going to help you in the long run, right? And seeking out help. I think that's the biggest thing, is the seeking out help is, I think, the biggest takeoff point that I've had.
Right.
And when you think you know everything, it catches up on you.
It
You
does.
can only go so far because your mind knows only so much, right?
Right.
And these people that coaches and parents and players you've been around, they have a different experience of whatever they've done. And if you're able to get information from everyone, you could just become that
Use it.
next. Yeah, you just use it to your advantage.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I had probably 2 summers ago, I started hitting with a guy, Matt Lopes. I've told you that before. It's funny people call you Lopes.
Yeah.
But, like, I felt like when I paired up with his mind and I got his approach and, like, he works on the mechanics and all that little stuff. But, like, when I started to get his ideas, I feel like that's when my game started to take off. But, like, until I said, okay, this one guy I'm hitting with, it's okay, but maybe it doesn't fit my style. Let's try something new. And until I said I'm going to try something new, I don't think my game would ever tap to that next level.
Absolutely.
So just what you're saying, seek help.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you went to UCF. What made you want to go the JUCO route?
Yeah, I think I just needed to play. Like, I needed that solidified answer. It wasn't that I was running away from the competition, so to speak, but, like, I needed to make sure I was going to play 100 games or 75, 80 games in a year.
Yeah.
Like, I needed to play.
Yeah.
I had not played the whole year, and so just going into a spot that I knew I was going to play every day and play 30 games in the fall and kind of just get that fresh start.
Yeah.
And so I ended up at Polk State, and I played for Coach Al Corbeil. He was a great coach to play under. He emulated toughness, which I like, that gritty idea of the JUCO. He showed that to a T.
Oh, yeah.
And, he was a great hitter. He helped me with that little stuff. So I feel like that was a good spot to land in.
Absolutely. I mean, when you were in high school and you were getting to your senior year, I don't know if you were committed. When did you commit to UCF?
January of my junior year.
Okay. So before that, did JUCO ever cross your mind?
It didn't, and I was almost annoyed that at that point I was like, why didn't no JUCOs ever hit me up or try to talk to me, have interest, anything? It was like, why wouldn't they? But no.
Would you have considered it, or was that you were?
I probably wouldn't have, but I would have at least liked to have it in my mind, have that option, but maybe.
Dude, I was completely against JUCO.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. So, funny story is when my brother went to JUCO, he went to Cypress College. He was a great catcher. He won MVP in our league. He could hit. He had a good arm. He could probably play in college still if he could.
Yeah.
But they turned him into a PO, and they made a lot of false promises. And, when you're at JUCO, they get bounce backs like yourself.
Right.
So when you're recruited out of high school, you go in and you're like, okay, I'm going to start at JUCO, right? Whatever. But then they bring guys in like you, and they're obviously going to give you the leeway, right?
Right.
And they're going to give you, hey, you're going to play in center field. So that kind of happened to him, where they thought, oh shoot, the ambulance.
It's like it's going nowhere.
I know. Yeah. Sorry. So they told him, they're like, all right, you're going to come in and be a starting catcher. And then he comes in. They recruited 2 other Division I bounce backs. And so they're like, all right, well, I don't think you're going to catch here, so maybe you can pitch and be one of our pitchers.
Right.
And so they turned him into a PO, and they just kept making false promises after fall. And he was there for 3 years. And so by the time I graduated high school, I had no offers. So I was like, I'm not going to JUCO, because if that's what's going to happen, I don't want to become a PO. So I was like, nah, JUCO is out of my mind, for sure. And that's why I took a gap year. And I thought this was the best way that I could get myself ready for Division I.
Right.
And then when COVID hit, I was like, I think I could play somewhere better than at Chicago. So I was like, I guess I got to go JUCO.
Right.
And so I went JUCO, and it was the best decision I ever made.
I love it.
So
what was it like that gap year?
Dude, I mean, I talked about it in the last podcast with Cooper, but abbreviated version.
Yeah.
It was gritty.
Okay.
It was one of those things that you had to take it by, the huevos. And, if you don't, you decide what you want to do.
Yeah.
I could have just went Like, nobody's telling me, like, you have to do this.
You got to get up and hit.
Weights.
Right.
I knew I was going to Chicago, so I would wake up at 5 a.m. when it was the coldest point in California, which was like 40 degrees,
right.
which is still cold.
Yeah.
But Chicago's going to be 10 degrees or lower. So I was trying to prepare myself, like, mentally, and I thought that was, like, a cool thing I did.
Definitely.
And so I'd work out. I started training younger kids. I trained Andrew Parker, who's at Cal State Northridge now, and he turned out pretty good. So I would work out from 5 to 6, and then I would train him from 6 to 7, and then I would go to my job. And so I worked with my mom as a mentor, and I worked at Century High School, where I went to high school for 2 years.
Okay.
And these are kids that know 90% Spanish, 10% English.
Okay.
And so I had to figure out how to communicate with them. So I would help them with their homework, make sure their scheduling is correct. How can they, use their time wisely throughout their day? So I kind of did that from, I'd say, August to May, and I just trained every single day. I just tried to put on as much weight because I was skinny. I was just average with everything, average arm, average speed, average hitting, never could hit home runs. So I had to figure out what I needed to do in a year to get where I wanted to be. So I did that over the course of the year and ended up pretty good. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I mean, it was definitely an experience. I don't know if I'd do it again.
Right.
Like, I probably would have changed some things in high school so I didn't have to do that.
Right.
So that's what I'm trying to do with this Leisure House podcast, is like help players, figure out what their goal is and how can they get there in the least amount of steps.
Yeah.
Right. And just make it a little easier, because I took the craziest route ever. So I'm like, all right, I know how to not do it and how to do it now. So.
And if we could help them out, let's do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's my whole goal, man.
Yes,
Like,
sir.
I want to empower athletes, especially the younger community. And my little brother, who's 14, he's just started high school, so I'm trying to help him out and give him, the best opportunity to be a dude and play in the SEC. So,
Right.
Yeah. So when you went to Polk State, how did the recruiting process to go back to Division I go? Like, how did you figure out you wanted to go to Western after that?
Yeah, we played a tournament. We played a couple tournaments, but we played a tournament at Chipola, which is a pretty good JUCO down in Florida. And, I think I maybe didn't get out in maybe 3 or 4 games. And I got in touch with the recruiting guy, Adam Pavlovich, at Western Kentucky at the time, and I liked him. He was a Florida guy. He had played AAA for the Angels, and I was like, this guy's going to get me to the next level. Like, I like what he has to say. I could learn a lot from him, and it was just like a good connection.
Yeah.
Got on campus. It's a nice campus. Western has a beautiful campus, and I just felt like it was a good fit.
Yeah.
It just worked, and so I went there for 3 years.
3 years,
Yeah.
yeah. So, when you decided to go there, did you have a plan of taking a grad year somewhere already, or were
Man, I wanted to be there for 1 year.
you wanted to be there?
I wanted to be there
year?
for 1
That's
year.
what
And
we
it
always
didn't work
want,
like that, but, that was the idea. Just
Yeah.
like you said,
Yeah.
that was the idea.
Yeah. So
But-
when did you decide that Kentucky, you were going to stay in Kentucky, but you were going to play in the SEC? When did you decide that?
Yeah. So for the regional game, I came here. I was in Lexington. I was like,
Okay.
man, it's a sick park. Let's go watch it. I had my girlfriend with me, a couple of my friends, and man, we were sitting right down there, and I was going through the process. I had maybe talked with 10 coaches, and I had gotten in a Twitter DM or a message from another coach from here. And so, at the time, it was really low-level communication, and I started to hear this chatter from my friends. They're like, hey, maybe you'll go here. And I was like, oh, yeah. And then I'm standing next to a fan, and he's like, oh, who are you guys? Because he could tell we were some baseball players. I said, oh, I played at Western this year, but I'm in the portal right now. And he looks at me, he's like, you should come here.
Hey.
And I just kept getting these weird signs yeah, maybe you'll come here, maybe you'll come here. And so fast forward maybe a month later, and it just worked. I talked to Koos and just loved him, and we made it work. It happened on Father's Day, so it was a really cool moment. Yep.
Wow.
Really
That's
cool
awesome.
moment, and I was on my bike. I came back in from my street, rode in. My family was playing pickleball. I was like, "Can you guys come inside?" And I dropped the news on them. They were pumped up for me.
That's
so
awesome,
it was a
man.
special Father's Day.
Yeah, that's awesome,
Hell
dude.
yeah.
I mean, just hearing stories like that, that's how you know you're in the right place.
Right.
Like, when all the signs, you just know.
It's got to be.
Yeah, it's got to be. And I mean, this is probably one of the best coaching staffs I've ever played for.
Definitely.
Like, they are just with you the entire way, and they want the best for you. And that's what made me fall in love with this place.
Me too.
Did you have any other offers?
Yeah, I was looking at maybe going to Georgia, Illinois, USF, and Troy. Those would probably be like the last 5 that I was really considering.
That's cool, dude. I mean, it's interesting to hear people's different like portal experiences because we have that COVID year. So I mean, there's a lot of guys that are being grad students and playing at a different school. Like, this is your 4th different school, right?
4th, yeah.
And this is my 4th different school as well. So it's cool, like somebody like you who's a 6th year, somebody like me who's been to 4 different schools. We ended up at a place like this. And I think it's so cool to just like be in that moment.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
For all the things that went, not to say wrong, but like wrong, we ended up in such a good spot.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like, my portal experience was like, dude, I mean, coming from SC, I was like, all right, like, I'm going to get some good offers. And I got this, like, email, and it was, like, from this, like, it was, like, this, like, random, like, college, like, they were just like, oh, yeah, all these schools are interested in you. And I was, like, reading the schools, and I was like, am I him? Like, why are all these schools want me? But, like, I was just so, like, confused. So I was like, all right, it's going to be a piece of cake. So I'm, like, going through, I'm not getting any calls or anything, and I'm just like, all right, like, when's somebody gonna like reach out? And all my friends that were in the portal were like getting calls and stuff, and I was just like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And I started talking to some small schools, and it was like I wanted to play in the SEC.
Yeah.
So I was like, I want the big schools to call me up, like LSU or Kentucky, so schools like that, and they never did. And so Arizona was my best option.
Yeah.
And so I verbally committed to them, and I was just like, it didn't feel like the right decision. And all the signs were telling me no. Like, everybody, like, it was cool. Like, I didn't want to play in the Pac-12 again. And then I decided that I wanted to go play somewhere else, but I didn't have any other options. So this is one of those crazy stories.
Yeah.
So I'm going to Chipotle with Andrew Parker, who I mentioned earlier. And this random lady comes up to me. Most random thing ever. Like, I'm leaving Chipotle. Parker's walking back to his car, and I'm walking back. This lady just comes out of nowhere, like an angel, I swear. And she's just like, hey, sorry to bother you, but, like, I saw your shirt. So I was wearing SC. She's like, I saw your shirt, and, like, my family, some of my family went to SC, and I just, like, had this, like, feeling that I just need to say a prayer for you. Do you mind if I say a prayer for you? And I was like, sure. Like, I have no idea who this lady is. And she's like, what do you want me to pray for? And I was like, my baseball career. And so she, says a prayer, and it was like, Andrew has a video of it. It was funny because I'm just at Chipotle.
Didn't know what was going on.
She has a hand on me, and I'm just like standing there, like, so awkward. Like, I'm in the middle of the parking lot. Yeah. So then she says a prayer, and I was like, thank you so much. And so didn't think much of it. The next day, I'm eating at this chicken teriyaki place, and I get a DM on Twitter from Ammo, and he sends me. He's like, hey, send me your number, and then I send him my number, and then literally 10 minutes later he's calling me, and I'm just like,
what the heck?
Kentucky? Wait, what's going on? And he calls me, and then he's just like, hey man, like, are you interested in coming here? And I was like, absolutely, like, absolutely. Puts me on the phone with Kuzi 10 minutes later. Next day, I'm on the phone with Minge, and I just felt like I was at home. Like, this is where I needed to go.
Oh yeah, once you get on the phone with him, it's like, all right, this is it.
Yeah.
What's up, man?
Yeah, he's like, hey, what's up, man? My name's Nick too. That's the best name. And I was like, yeah, like, he's just
this guy's down to earth. Yeah.
And it was cool. Like, I mean, you saw that YouTube video of the $50 million facility. Yeah. So I saw that, and I was like, wow. Like, great coaching staff and great facilities. Like, you couldn't ask for anything more.
Exactly.
It's been awesome.
Yeah.
So there's a running joke that I think Ben Higdon started. It's Crittenberger to the 90.
Yeah, it's an outfield joke, man. It's a whole outfield joke. It's like everybody just keeps getting their English accent.
Yeah.
They start working it up every day.
Yeah.
Now everybody's got one. But we throw into like the net, right? And like it's just like a square screen, but it looks a little bit like a soccer goal. And so you throw it up into that upper right, and Crittenberger, upper 90.
Upper 90.
So that got rolling.
Oh, is it upper 90?
Yeah, upper 90.
Shoot. I thought it was into the 90. I guess that
Either
works
one.
too.
Yeah, it does.
But yeah, that's funny.
It is
and then
funny.
what does he say after that? He goes like, "The cup is coming home."
Yeah. Hayden's good at it. I
Dude,
swear. He could be like an English
Yeah,
an English
announcer.
guy. Yeah, he could.
Yeah. Are you English? Is that your last name or Crittenberg?
I think it is English.
Is
yeah.
it?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Maybe they're onto something.
Yeah, they are, dude. I mean, I honestly say it every day. I think
Yeah.
it's the funniest thing ever. And just like I just see you walking around. I think at BDA Day I posted something else just like Crittenberger
Yeah.
to the upper 90.
Yeah.
It's
Nah,
just a funny thing. It's
it
like,
is, and
yeah.
it goes to show that like the outfield is like we're about our business, but we have a good time, and
Yeah.
they acclimated everybody into the group right away, and we're all friends, and
Yeah.
I feel like when that happens, and I'm sure you would say the same about the infield, but that's when like teams really gel.
Yeah.
When it's not like, oh, you're not our guy, like you're on this side, and the guys that are returning are on this side. We have our jokes, and you're not a part
Yeah.
of them. Never gotten that feeling so far, so I
Yeah.
feel like that's when you have really great teams.
Yeah, I can completely agree with that because I've had the experiences of like, oh, these are our jokes.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and I feel like here it's just like everybody is a part of it. Like I just feel like even the outfield and infield, like we're making the joke and Ben's making the joke.
You're already
with
part
us.
of it, yeah.
Like, I just feel like we're all connected,
Yeah.
and that's the biggest difference I've experienced here at Kentucky. Is the family and like the culture of the team. Like there's an established culture and everyone's for each other. And I don't know how it was at Western, but I'm sure this has been a great experience for you
Right,
too.
Kentucky does it well. Kentucky does it really well.
Yeah, I mean we ended up at a pretty good spot. I'm
Yeah,
not
we
gonna
did.
lie,
We
yeah.
did.
So you told me you got a pretty big family of 8, and you
Yeah.
got 4 older siblings.
5.
5 older
I'm the
siblings.
youngest of the 6. Yeah.
And we got the oldest man in the SEC, and he's the youngest of 6. That's awesome. So you have 2 sisters and 2 brothers, correct?
2 brothers and 3 sisters.
2 brothers and 3 sisters.
Yeah.
So I have an older brother, so I know what it's like growing up with an older sibling.
Right.
But you have 2 of them, and you have 3 older sisters.
Everybody's older, man.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit how the family dynamic. How did that go? How was that growing up?
Yeah, I feel like I got my butt kicked for maybe like 10, 15 years. But no, everybody was super competitive. Everybody liked playing their sports, playing their games, just an ultra competitive family. And so I think that helped me. Like I can remember you just bringing that up. Like I can remember my sister playing me in basketball. I'm probably like 10 years old. And like I remember my dad's out there watching us, and she like bops me to the ground. And I like cut my elbow open, and I like look up at my dad, and my sister makes the layup, and he's like, "She wins," and I'm like bursting in tears,
Like,
running
what?
away. But like that's what it was about, man. Like just compete. Like if you're not gonna be tough, you're gonna get scooted to the side. And my dad coached us, so he was all about it, and mom was locked in on getting us to every event. So I just had 2 super parents, and like I'm really grateful to have them and my siblings, man. Yeah.
It seems like they've done a pretty good job.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate you.
I understand that competitive feeling. My older brother, oh my gosh, I couldn't tell you the amount of like fights that we've gotten in just because of like competitive edge.
Yeah.
And he's always been bigger than me, and like right now I think he's like 6'2", 230. He's a big boy.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, growing up in high school, I was like a $160.
But it didn't scare you.
Didn't scare me.
Got that
But
dog
he did
in you.
push me around a little bit.
bet.
I'm not gonna lie, like just physically, just outweighed me.
Yeah.
But like I would always outrun him, and I used to be quick.
Okay.
And that was the only way that like I could get away is like I'd run.
Yeah.
And he couldn't catch me. So that but I look up to that dude so much, and he's kind of like a model I've looked at because he played 6 years of college. He played 3 years at Illinois Chicago after 3 years at Cypress. And he's gone through the ringer, man. Like, he had injuries. He had a blood clot. They had to take out a rib. Like, he was on the verge of, like, death.
Yeah.
And that dude is still playing indie ball right now. And like I feel like if I, had something like that, I'd be like, all right, like I can't play baseball anymore. Like I gotta take care of my health.
Right.
And he did that. He took care of his health, and he continues to play, man. And indie ball is not exactly where you want to be, but that's where he is, and he's playing, and he loves it, and he's taking full advantage of it, and he still believes that he's gonna make it to the MLB, and that's what's like. A lot of people don't understand that, but when someone has that drive, especially because it's my brother, I'm like, if he can do it, I can do it too, because I'm better than him.
Yeah.
So I mean, growing up, we always had that like competitive. Like I would always like people would be like, "Hey, who's better at baseball?" Like those jokes.
You're like, obviously.
And I'm like, the younger one, obviously. So, and now I got my little brother, so I'm, I don't, push him around as much because he's so much younger. So I just try to give him the most advice I can because he's in high school and just want him to be the best. So.
Right.
And he's gonna be the best of us three. Like he's gonna be taller, he's gonna be stronger. He's gonna be good. So I'm excited to see where he goes from there.
Yeah, it's cool having the older brother that like you can kind of see his path and learn from his mistakes and learn from the things he did right, all that good stuff. I definitely have been blessed with two older brothers that have helped me. I remember my oldest brother Jack would be like, we would be waking up early before going to school. Like I would be going to high school and he was in Florida going to a JUCO. And we would go work out at the beach before school, and like I'll be sitting in first period, like, you guys don't even know.
Yeah, you have no
You're
idea.
tired, man. You don't even know. I was working this morning,
man.
But he introduced me to like, just go after perfecting the craft. Like, it's easy to be like, oh, I'm just gonna stay within the lines, and like, oh, I'm gonna be a good hitter and a good runner, and I have a good arm. Like, no, take it to the next level. What are you really good at? Can you go get it? Can your hand-eye coordination be ridiculous? Can your balance be next level?
Yeah.
Because, like, if you can maximize the little things, the big things will kind of just benefit from it.
Absolutely.
So he just showed me how to, like, really get to work. Not just thinking you're working, but, like, thinking about the work you're putting in.
Yeah.
Taking it to that next level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the difference maker right there, dude. Just, like, having that understanding of what you're saying is that difference maker, because a lot of people just don't understand that.
They can't see it.
They can't see it.
Yeah.
And when you have
you can't blame them at that point.
You can't. You literally can't. It's hard to teach somebody, and they just don't understand it. But when you have a brother like that takes you under his wing and helps you understand it, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Right. And you have 3 sisters.
Yeah.
So I mean, I've never had an older sister. I have a younger sister, and I'm very protective of her, and I can assume that they were protective of you as well.
I was a rascal. I don't know that they had to be protective, but they definitely let me know when I was out of line.
Yeah.
Like, they would beat my butt just like my brothers. So, but no, like, I had 2 sisters that both played Division I sports. They were both 2 great soccer players. Same with my third sister. Katie, you're great at soccer too. But, they were blessed enough to play in college, and it's different with the female athletes. Like, it's not that same grit is what I would say out of the male athletes, but it takes so much dedication.
Yeah.
And like, if there's one thing they could show me, I remember my sister told me a story where she comes off the field after like playing every single game in her sophomore year, and she turns to the trainer and she's like, "Get me some x-rays on my shins." And he's like, "What are you talking about? Like, you just played the whole season. Like, you look like you're perfectly fine out there." She's like, "No, they're broken." And, like, 2 stress fractures in her shins. But, like,
wow,
she's just that dedicated and, like, that just competitive. That's a better word, competitive. Like, once she got out on the field, everything else was out the window.
Oh,
like, just a competitive girl. So
that's awesome.
when she told me that, I'll get goosebumps till this day. Like, she
Yeah.
was just ultra competitive.
Yeah, I mean, 2 fractures in your shin.
And she knew it, too.
And she demanded. She's like, "I know what's going on. I played through this, and you're going to get me those right now." That's awesome.
Uh-huh.
That's really cool. So, I mean, this is actually a funny story that I was talking about to you earlier, but I didn't mention what the story was. So, the first day that we go to our, what is that called? Physical. I'm standing right behind this guy, and I had no idea he was on the baseball team. And I remember we were watching the Little League World Series, and you like saw like we were both like, oh, like something, and like I like looked at you, but like I didn't like introduce myself because I had no idea. And so like you got some drip, dog, and I think you might be the drippiest guy on the team.
Oh.
So I mean, This is actually another funny part. Is some of the guys, I remember when we had no idea who was who, they're like, oh man, that guy looks like he's out west. And I was like, you kind of does. Like, I didn't know you were from Florida, so I was like, maybe he's from California. I don't know. But like, talk to me about your drip. Like, how did you just like, what's your style? Like, how did you get your style?
Well, I do remember that first day. I remember seeing you, and I was like, that mustache is too crispy to not be a ball player. It was
That's
too
funny.
crispy, but I'm shy by nature, so we didn't talk that day. But, I just like wearing what I wear. Like, just have confidence in what you're wearing. It's not about what you're wearing. It's just about being confident in what you're going to put on.
Yeah.
Some days I like to just keep it basic. Like, I got my dad's shoes on right now, but, like... Other days I like to get dripped out. I just think wear what you want to wear. It's not about specific drip, but it's your drip.
Yeah.
Like, I know you got your Cali swag that I could tell right away. Like, you had the ones on, and now you got the dunks. Yeah, those are sweet, bro.
Yeah, my boy Patty Kicks from out from California, he hooked me up with these.
You hooked it up?
I mean,
those are
if you want
dope.
some, he can hook you up too.
All right. Patty Kicks.
Patty Kicks, yeah. So, I mean, like, even right now, like, you just kind of like, this is like your standard, like, it looks sick, you know what I mean?
I appreciate you.
And like guys that take pride in their stuff, and even when it comes down to the details of just like how you look,
Yeah.
that's how you know somebody like takes pride in their craft on the field. Off the field, like I think that's a little different.
Right.
So I think it's awesome. Yeah.
There's like a quote. It's like sloppiness in one area leads to sloppiness in all areas, and
Yeah.
I feel like that's just what you're saying.
Exactly.
Like, if you can't get yourself tidy to go out, then like how are you gonna pick up the trash or like get a bunt down or back up a bag?
Yeah.
It's just like the little things are everything.
Exactly. My thing is like if I look good, I feel good.
That's what I was gonna
and
say.
I play good.
I feel good getting dripped out and stuff like that.
yeah.
So it's a two-way
I
street.
agree with that. Yeah, it's awesome, man. All right, so we talked about some health stuff. We got these sap drinks.
Yes.
So I know you see me around with these.
I have seen.
I get the craziest stuff. Like I just see stuff and I'm like, that could help me.
I love it.
I mean, there's this guy named Eric Hinchman that I follow on Instagram, and he's done 5 Ironmans, and he's just like, you just look at him, and he's super healthy. You kind of look like him. Like he's I'm not even kidding. Like look him up after.
You.
And so he gets like he's sponsored by all this stuff, and I saw him like doing an ice bath, and he has one of these in there. And so I literally just was like hopped on a DM on Instagram, and I messaged him, and I was like, hey, I'm a USC alumni, and I'm at Kentucky playing baseball, and do you want to work on a deal or something? So they responded, and I didn't think they were, honestly, and they sent me like 3 cases of these.
That's sick.
And so I drink these every day with my strong coffee. So we're gonna do a little taste test here.
Let's do
So
it.
we got the blackberry citrus.
Okay.
We got the lemon lime, and the passion fruit.
Which is your favorite?
I like the blackberry citrus.
All right.
I'm not gonna lie.
Can I
That's my
start with that
favorite.
one?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Wait, hold on. We also have this thing. So I remember we had this little debate earlier, and I posted on my Instagram. I was like, "Is it a birdie or a waterfall? Are you waterfalling or are you
I'm
birdieing?"
waterfalling.
You're waterfalling?
Yes.
Is that what they say out in Florida?
I don't know what they say. Actually they do. They do say waterfall.
Dude, that's funny because in
Waterfall,
California, man, it's
a
in
birdie?
Orange County specifically. where I
Explain
live.
that. A birdie?
So,
I ain't never seen a bird.
It's how like the mama bird like feeds their like kind of like that.
Yeah.
I am being 100%.
Does that mean I gotta pour it into
honest.
your mouth?
Yeah, I guess that's
it's
what
a self birdie.
Yeah, self birdie. But like, I had no idea that nobody else said birdie.
So
and
you dropped it one day.
I just like kept saying birdie my whole life growing up because I'm in Orange County. They call it the Orange County bubble, OC bubble. And I saw that my girlfriend sends me this TikTok, and I don't really use TikTok unless it's for Leisure House. And it's like this girl goes around and asks people birdie or waterfall, and every person that they interviewed that was from Orange County was like birdie.
Of course.
And then everybody else was like waterfall. And so then I had to see for myself, so I posted on mine, everyone from Orange County, birdie. And then like until I said it, I had no idea. So, yeah. So you can take you can drink out of the can.
Give it a waterfall?
You can do a little can sip.
All right, bet.
I'm going to take some of the passion fruit right now.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. So this
It's way lighter is what I
Yeah.
would say.
Yeah. It's got the 1900 milligrams of electrolytes. It's got adaptogens. It's gluten-free. And 0 added sugar. So you're getting all the good stuff put into your body. And, when you're like, we talk about hydration every day, and when you take the next step into hydration, it's making sure that you're getting the right stuff in your body. And so, like, you're getting all the things you need to keep your body healthy on top of the water. Because water is not enough to just be hydrated, essentially. It's good, but, like, you need the electrolytes because that's what you're sweating out.
Right.
It's potassium, magnesium, and sodium.
You've seen my hat.
Yeah.
That thing is covered in the sweat.
Yeah. So that's all your stuff that's in there. You're put it back in your body.
Yeah.
So that's the blackberry citrus.
I like this one.
This is the passion fruit. This one's actually pretty good too. Lemon lime is solid as always.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with lemon lime.
You can't go wrong with lemon lime. So I'm probably gonna drink 2 of these.
All right, I gotta ask. It's like 5 p.m., 6 p.m. Is there caffeine in this?
No.
Okay.
No caffeine.
Okay.
Just straight.
I thought you just set me up.
No. Yeah, there's like 600 milligrams of caffeine. No, I'm just kidding. But that's the nice thing about these, because I'm a caffeine guy, and I feel like I'm a coffee guy, so I got partnered with Strong Coffee, and so that's why I drink that every morning, because that gets me exactly what I need, but not too much, you know. And I used to drink Reigns and all those, and I still think they're good. Yeah. I'll still drink one once in a while, but just drinking that coffee and then having one of these or 2 of these is like exactly what I need to get myself right. So I live and die by these. Like,
and that's huge that that's what you need. It's a good feeling, because you're like, if I get this in me, I know I'm going to be feeling right, because I've done it 10 times or 20 times, whatever it is. That's a good feeling to have.
Yeah. And like over the years, I mean, now being in my 5th year of college, it's like I've kind of figured out what my routine is, right? And it took me a while, because I didn't really believe, like, I kind of just like showed and go, and like I figure it out when I get there.
Right.
And I've always done that, but now I'm like, all right, I need to get into a routine and like change things up a little bit. So the past couple of years, especially with the NIL, it just opened up so many opportunities, and I feel like I've taken really good advantage of it. And so, have you got any NIL?
No, I feel like that's one thing I could learn from you about. Definitely.
I mean, dude, I'll hook you up with some stuff. I think you could definitely get some NIL deals. It's all about just like reaching out, man. Like, they want to help us and to help them, right?
Yeah.
So just like getting your word of mouth out there, just talking to people, and like it's just like connections.
Yeah.
And like knowing the right people and getting with the right people will set you up with stuff like this. So I think you just got to reach out.
When did you feel like that started? Was that something at USC?
I mean, when the NIL came out, I kind of was like, man, like I wanted to get with Liquid IV and all those stuff. So I wasn't at SC yet.
Okay.
And I just like kind of reached out, I wanted to see what it was like.
Yeah.
And I majored in communications now, so like, and I feel like building connections has been like a good thing that I've been trying to do to, you know, maybe a job down the line. So just like little things like this, like being able to communicate with small brands or big brands will just help me overall with, I mean, getting free product, but also just having those connections for future. So definitely. You just gotta like reach out.
Put yourself out there.
Put yourself out there, man.
I heard it.
Yeah. So I got my little iPad here. So what do you want from this year? So what's your expectations? You know, you're in your 6th year, your last year. What's your expectations after this year?
Yeah. I think twofold. I want to help the team, and I want to help the team, number one, by like helping young guys. Like just you doing this podcast. I know I've been through it. If I can communicate the right way, I can help certain guys just smooth out the process.
Yeah.
And then number two, you know, like I'm in that 6th year. I feel like I'm playing my best baseball. I can help this team win. You know, like bring my skill set to the table and do whatever it takes, whatever the team calls me to do.
Yeah.
Get it done to help us win in Omaha. Honestly, win a national championship. That's what I think we could do. So, yeah, just make it as far as we can. And I know we'll have a good group. I know we have a good group. So just enjoying it every single day. Don't get caught up in life. Just, you know, like, make your days count. Don't count the days. Like, it's cliche, but it's true. Like, don't get caught up in everything going on around you. Just dive into what's going on in the moment.
Yeah.
So
That's kind of what my motto has been this year, man. Like, just kind of just be me, you know? I'm not going to try to do too much. I'm going to be me, and I'm going to help the team as much as possible, whether it's at first base, on the bench, wherever, right? So, like, I just want to help the team. I want to help the state of Kentucky bring home a national championship,
Hell
right?
yeah.
And I think having the year that Kentucky had last year, it's really promising to want to do it again, right? And everybody was going to come out here and support us because they want to do it again and get even farther. And the fact that we lost to the national champions last year, who were pretty good, and they had the 1 and 2 pick overall. So I mean, that's doesn't happen every day. So I think it's really cool that they went that far, and they lost, but they lost to the people to the best.
Yeah.
And so I think that we have a really good squad, really good coaches, and I think we got a really good shot to do something special. So I'm excited. Like, I've completely changed my approach from my freshman year, and I'm sure you have too. And you just got to keep making adjustments. That's what life is, man. You just got to keep making adjustments, keep figuring it out, just keep showing up. Like, that's all it really is. And then, like, obviously you got to put in the work, but you can't overthink it.
Yeah.
So, talked about what you want to do here. What about if baseball doesn't work out in the end? What's your plan with that?
Right. After baseball's done, you know, everybody gets told someday they're done with the game. I graduated with a sports psychology degree, so I want to, you know, whether it's work with hitters one-on-one, work with a team as a whole, or work as a hitting coach, but use that sports psychology background and just, like, use it in the game of baseball. Like, the sports psychology, you know, it works for every single sport, but baseball is so mental. It's so mental that, you know, it is my sport, obviously, so I don't see myself getting outside of it. So just working with the team and helping hitters use their mind for themselves, not against themselves.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy that you say that, because what I'm trying to do with Leisure House is in the future I want to have my own facility and make it like almost like a combination of the baseball lifestyle and, like, health and wellness.
Yeah.
And also implementing a psychologist.
Yeah.
And somebody that can, like, you know, talk to people every single day and help them, not just with the performance part of it, of the physical, but, like, the mental side. Because I think that's a huge thing that is so overlooked nowadays. And I think focusing on mental health and the mental part of the game is really important and definitely not focused on enough.
Yeah.
And that's my goal. I mean, that would be cool to have somebody like you do that, because I mean,
that's how I know you're next level, man. Because like it's like what separates good guys from really great guys.
Yeah.
The consistency. And what's consistency? Probably a good mindset.
Absolutely.
Because everybody's talented.
Yeah.
To a certain degree.
Yeah.
You know? But that mindset is different.
Yeah.
So.
The mindset is definitely, it could change your whole career, man. Just the way you look at I've gotten into a lot of, like, lifestyle stuff, and I watched this. What really changed my outlook on what I want to do is this show on Netflix, or no, Disney Plus, with Chris Hemsworth. It's called Longevity.
Yeah.
And after watching that, you guys gotta check it out. You gotta check it out. It's awesome. And, like, I just started looking at things differently, and it's, like, really changed my outlook on baseball and just life in general, and what I want to do and what I can do.
Yeah.
And what the body and mind is capable of doing, right? It's so interesting to just know that I have so much more in my brain that I just haven't tapped into yet.
Right.
So I think, like what you said, just, like, helping the younger generation smoothen it out is just, like, what I want to do.
Yeah.
And I think you would be a great person to do that.
I appreciate
awesome.
that.
Yeah.
That would be super cool.
That would be awesome, man. So, I mean, we talked about a lot of things. The oldest man in the SEC,
yes, sir.
Ty Crittenberger, to the upper 90. Stay tuned. I mean, this guy is going to do some really good things this year, so you got to stay and watch this guy. Keep up with him on Instagram. Follow him.
Appreciate you.
So, that's a wrap, man.
My man, thanks for having me.
Appreciate you coming on here.
Yes, sir.
It's been awesome.
That was great.
All right, stay tuned for the next Wildcat. We'll see you next time.